Hello, welcome back. Um, as I start the show today, I have to always remind myself who I'm speaking to. You know, when I do these shows, I'm always putting symbols up. I'm always putting up flags. I'm putting up names of different agencies to bring to their attention some of the things that are playing out here on this globe. Now, one of the things that I've been constantly talking about is that there's been a type of surveillance put on me ever since I started talking about some of the issues that I was observing down here and that I've experienced myself. So since then, because of, the countless things that I'm in, and those tactics have picked up. And this is in the midst of me bringing up the reparations movement, the 10% Act movement. There has been a type of, let's just say an MK Ultra attack, or a PSYOP. Everyone who goes through these type of awakenings, who starts talking in the manner that I'm talking, bringing up history, bringing out some of the things that are actually attacking the American people, there are a lot of people who don't want to see this information. Now, right now, the reason why I'm bringing up the Civil War is because right now, because of a particular cause that I'm behind, which is the reparations movement or the 10% Act movement, it has brought on a different type of energy to try to oppose it. The same way these two entities went at each other. Whatever it is that's trying to stop this movement, it had some significant ties to this. Remember, both of these wars had roots in different governments in this country. Those were literally two governments in the United States going after each other. And I've talked to you in the past about the flags. I've said before, now you see behind me, you see the Confederate flag and you see the American flag. Those were two flags going to war with each other. I've said many times about the significance of a flag. Now, let me bring you back to what I have next door here is the picture of Caesar from the Planet of the Apes. Now, the reason why I'm bringing him is to help give you an illustration of some of the things that I've been observing, and I think this is the best way that I know how to give some illustration on some of the things that I'm saying down here in this country here in the U.S. Right now, there is a significant push for a type of reparations to be paid out. Now, how it's going to be paid out is under discussion, but there's a type of reparations that is going before the U.S. government. Now, this has been brewing ever since the so-called illegalization of slavery in this country. But these particular people were never actually set free. To give a better example of that, it's like with the type of things that were happening to these individuals where they were slaves for hundreds of years and just left back into society with no laws to protect them against bias, against racism, systematic racism. These things that played out for generations in this country and has been documented. There's been a group of people, a force that's been behind this, trying to get people to look the other way when dealing with this, so much to the point, even though slavery was supposed to have happened hundreds of years ago, we're still seeing the damage and how it's still being played out subtly and is being played out in this country. Now, the push to stop this is, let me give you help you see something, help you to make you understand the mindset of a group of people that would do something like that. Now, here you have the movie, the original Planet of the Apes, Caesar, the main character. This movie was released back in the 1960s. During the 1960s, the same group that I'm talking about now, who went through slavery, who were victimized, taken from Africa, who are now asking to be compensated through the 10% Act or the Reparations Act, the same group that was affected by that hundreds of years ago, during the 1960s, that same group were tortured, they were hung, they were burned, they were whipped, they were put into slavery, they were put into bondage by, guess what? These two flags. Now, that particular group, through litigation, even members of even the members out of these own flags who saw the wrong of what they were doing, who stood up for it, one of them being Abraham Lincoln, a former president, he was killed for trying to free the same people I'm talking about today. See, what you're seeing here is deep rooted. And the mindset of the people who would do that, this movie being portrayed by a man in a monkey face, was used to symbolize black people in the 1960s in the height of some of the most traumatic racism, segregation the world has ever seen. People could, to put it in better context, this was a form. This was the equivalent of black people going through a prolonged Holocaust, if you want to look at it in that aspect, what Jews went through in Nazi Germany. What you're seeing here was happening in this country to these descendants of slaves in this country, or I'd like to call the founding families of this country, who were never compensated and were supposed to be freed with the great help of one of the leaders of this flag, the American flag. He was killed for doing such a thing. Now, fast forward to the 1960s, this movie Planet of the Apes comes out, portraying black people as monkeys. But this is the thing, when this information started coming out, the same way that I'm talking now, movies like this, the Planet of the Apes, came out to scare the members of both of these flags. What would happen if the black people who you tormented over slavery ever came into power? They put up mechanisms. They MK'd Ultra their own members into believing it. Not all of them, certain aspects of these groups who are representing this flag at the time. Not the flag itself. The people, some of the people who were in that flag, who represented that flag, did this. Not to say anything disparaging about any member of this, any of these flags, but know this: certain members of both of those flags put in efforts to stop and to keep slavery going, and how it was going to happen. One of the members who tried to stop it was Abraham Lincoln, and was killed for his efforts. Now, let me get back to what I was saying about Caesar. That movie comes out, and they're sending a message, a subliminal message through the movies, stating that, because in this movie, The Planet of the Apes, they were responsible for an uprising that eventually flipped the scripts, and instead of black people going through slavery, being hunted down and put in chains, it was white people who were hunted down, hunted until they were almost extinct. They were portrayed as that. And this didn't just happen. This is a perpetual, this movie had stemmed not just a movie, prequels, sequels, cartoons, books, novels, and comic books. The ultimate psyop. Remember, a lot of these techniques were established during Nazi Germany. Remember, I keep always going back to the Holocaust. This was almost like a a systemic Holocaust. This type of Holocaust they were doing was subjecting a group of people from all walks and cultures. Because when you talk about black people, and especially in North America, we're entangled with many different religions and different cultures and different races. Our group intermingles. So this could have happened to the descendants of your grandma or your grandfather. So what this country was doing, it kept doing. Now the mindset that I'm trying to get to establish here, they released this movie in the midst of where the racial climate in this country was as hot as the sun. They've released this to put more fuel to the fire, to keep that narrative going. Remember, during that time, there was rumors of wars. You know, the same thing that we're seeing now. This country was being torn apart. There were race riots going on at that time. Movies like this were coming out. In today's mindset, you would not release a movie like that. You wouldn't release a movie like that because, like I said, you're adding fuel to the fire. But this is the mindset of the people who are behind it. There's a mindset of a group of people. And this is the thing that people understand. When I say a group of people, these could be outside forces that are not even in the U.S., who subliminally come into a country and do this. They move in the darkness where you can't see them. Because a lot of this MK Ultra stuff, I've done the research. It goes across borders. I told you this was global. So when you have someone like me talking like this, where I'm talking directly to an MK Ultra agent or government official, please know that as of right now, I'm in MK Ultra attack. You know, I'm observing it. I'm not going to call it an attack. It's almost an observation from them. Let me just put it that way. I'm being highly monitored because of some of the things I'm talking about. You know, and of course, when you're talking about this, when you're saying something against either one of these flags, you're going to get the attention of people out of either one of those flags who are not going to like what I'm talking about and who will go against it. And this is to the extent that they're willing to go. You need to take a look at this. You need to take a real close look at this. This should scare you more than that daggone monkey face. That should scare you more than that monkey face. Because right now, they're trying to play this out on a global scale right here in the U.S. when you're dealing with the U.S., the Ukraine, and Russia. When you see these two brothers going after each other, be very wary, because guess what? Both of them have nuclear power capability and have the ability to destroy this planet. Let's be very clear on that. Now, in the midst of everything that I'm talking about, I have to bring this all the way back to this mask. Because right now, I'm a representative of a group who is trying to push for reparations for the crimes that these two flags have did to them. And that is the founding families of this country, the descendants of slaves. So as of right now, that is the symbol. There'll be many others of this movement. I'll leave it at that, and good day.